Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja, and in this segment today we are going to discuss about the Build Back Better World initiative of the G7 countries and how is it going to counter China's One Belt, One Road initiative or Belt and Road initiative. So why are we discussing it? Because from the perspective of India's point of view, the entire strategy is to safeguard India's interest. And whatever India's interests are, if they are congruent or the same as G7 countries' initiative of the Build Back Better World infrastructural program, why not participate in it? Now, this particular meeting has come at a time when Russia and Ukraine are entangled in an almost endless war right now. But what is India's stand with respect to China's aggression? That is very important for us to understand. And the group of 7 countries, mostly they have the similar insight or the similar viewpoint with respect to both Russia and China. But here India differs with respect to the viewpoint it has for Russia and it has for China. So let us first of all begin with the topics that we are going to see. These are the many topics that we are going to discuss. Preliminary facts are important, plus the mains from the perspective of mains examination, GS mains paper 2, GS mains paper 3 as well. And for political science and international relations student, this is very important. Moving on to why are we discussing it? Because the G7 summit has now completely gotten over. And it happened in the Bavarian Alps. Bavarian Alps are in Germany. So here is the Bavarian Alps. So in this segment, we are going to, of course, dedicate ourselves more so towards the analytical plus factual part. But from geographical perspective, we have our news on map series, and there I will try to bring one question with respect to Bavarian Alps as well. So you see, Bavarian Alps are a part of Germany, and here only the meeting appeared. Who are the G7? The G7 or the group of 7. Basically, it is an informal bloc, not formal, but informal bloc of 7 countries. Like we have Canada, we have France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, and United States of America. And if we take Russia into account, now that becomes G8. From G8, if we take these many countries into account, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, China, European Union, India, Indonesia, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, and Turkey, this becomes G20. If we talk about G7, it began as a grouping of 5 members, okay, and Italy and Canada, they became a part of the G5. The countries which started as G5 were France, Germany, Japan, United Kingdom, and United States in 1973 in the wake of oil crisis of 1973. Now in 1976, these 2 countries also joined, and then it became G7. And in 1976 only, not 96, the first meeting of G7 was held in Puerto Rico. Okay, so this much I hope it is clear. And now these countries, they have an equal mindset, an equal type of democracy that is existing over there. That is what makes them a common ally. They always talk about things that are common to their perspective, such as environment, economy, the political systems in the country, different countries. Moving on, if we talk about the current summit, Bavarian Alps is something that we have to be considered with respect to geography. I will bring one question from that. Now, German Chancellor, here we will talk about India a bit. One thing that we have to keep in mind over here is India is being seen as a natural ally. Why? Natural ally. Ally means partner, natural means something that is not enforced or forced upon, but it is occurring organically or by itself, by the nature of India as itself. So natural ally, because first of all, India has the similar type of political system a democracy India is, plus it has a similar mindset with respect to the entire world, rules-based order, responsibility towards if we talk about the Indo-Pacific, responsibility of different states in the Indo-Pacific, free and open Indo-Pacific, having same kinds of human rights that the other countries of G7 have. So here, the German Chancellor Scholz has invited India to the 2022 meet. Now, in prelims, if you remember, one question was asked, I think it was back in 2021, not this year, 2021, that along with India, how many other countries were invited to the summit? I think it was the G7 summit. So you have to remember, this year, Argentina, Indonesia, Senegal, and South Africa, they were also invited. So it's like making the group bigger. Okay, so Ukrainian President Zelensky also was there virtually on 27th of June. Other than these countries, other organizations were also a part of it, such as UN, WHO, World Trade Organization, IMF, and World Bank. They also participated in the summit. Okay, moving on. Before this also, it's not like India came to the G7 for the first time. During the Prime Ministership of Narendra Modi ji, from 2014, since 2014, India has been invited for the third time, counting this time. And such, if we talk about the first time since 2014, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson invited India to the Cornwall Summit. Then India was invited to the G7 French presidency in 2019 in the Biarritz Summit as a goodwill partner. Okay, tell me in the comment segment what is a goodwill partner. I will take the names of those who have answered it correctly in the upcoming segment. Sessions on climate and biodiversity, digital transformation. This was also a session where India was invited. During the Prime Ministership of Dr. Manmohan Singh, India attended the summit, then G8 5 times, when Russia was also a part of it. In 2014, Russia was, thrown away or thrown out of the partnership of the group of 8 because of the annexation of Crimea in 2014. Moving on, if we talk about what has been India's agenda, very clear. Environment was on our list of agendas. Energy, climate, food security, health, counter-terrorism, gender equality, and democracy. These were the certain plans. Now here, the one point that we are going to emphasize upon very much is partnership for global infrastructure and investment, because it has been actually seen by different countries of the G7 that there are many countries which are not well developed or developed enough to have their own funding for the infrastructure. And bullies such as China, they are getting into such spaces, giving them loans in such a manner that it can never be paid back, and the collateral, whatever China has held for collateral, that can be seized, and Chinese presence is formed in those countries. This is the debt trap policy of China. So build back better world. This particular term has been said by the US for the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment. It's a COVID-19 relief, future economic and infrastructure package. Okay, it is proposed by the G7 country way back, not this year, but it has been finalized now. It wants to provide infrastructural fund to lower income countries such as Sri Lanka, such as many other countries that are in the Asian, Latin American region. So mobilizing, first of all, we have to mobilize private sector capital in 4 areas of focus. So it's a public-private initiative. So these kind of statements could be forming your prelims question. Climate is one thing, of course. Health and health security, digital technology, gender equity and equality. Okay, so always remember such pillars. Moving on, infrastructure development carried out in a transparent and sustainable manner. That means we will provide, as G7, we will provide the loans to lower income countries in such a manner it is transparent and sustainable. Transparent as in the terms and conditions are visible. It's not something like China. There are many invisible terms and conditions which China has for its partners for loan. Now, sustainable manner in such a manner, providing them with the time passage in such a manner they are able to pay back the interest plus the loan or capital amount. Infuse investment by complying with the standards promoted by the Blue Dot Network. What is the Blue Dot Network? I have put it over here. Now, Blue Dot Network, this is basically a Blue Dot Network participants. It is from the public, private and civil society sectors. Okay, so public, private and civil society networks, they all come together to participate in Blue Dot Network, and they believe in building and financing quality infrastructure project. Okay, and the network aims to promote quality infrastructure investment that is open, okay, inclusive, transparent, economically viable and aligned with the Paris Agreement. That means Paris Agreement dictates us as a world to ensure that we keep the temperature below 1.5 degrees Celsius and 2 degrees Celsius, not 0.5, 2 degrees Celsius, as we compare it to the pre-industrial era. So the threshold is that. So in order to ensure that infrastructure is sustainable economically, environmentally, financially, in such a manner that it is aligned with the Paris Agreement. Okay, so these are the different things. You can take a screenshot or you can visit the Blue Dot Network's website itself. What is China's Belt and Road Initiative? Now currently China's Belt and Road Initiative has an investment of US $4 million. Now if we talk about China's Belt and Road Initiative, through this map you see that China always talked about its erstwhile, its legendary Maritime Silk Road. So Maritime Silk Road Initiative plus Silk Road Economic Belt. If we combine these two, we have our Belt and Road Initiative, and it is spanning across Asia, Europe, Africa. So it spans across the continents, and you see that it is made up of road, rail, ports, supporting infrastructure and operating system on a global basis. So not only rail, not only road, but also ports. These all are consolidated to form the BRI. It was initiated in the year 2013. Now Xi Jinping, it was earlier named as One Belt, One Road, but after that Belt and Road Initiative was started in 2016. Xi Jinping's very ambitious program this is. Moving on, if we talk about the current status of the Build Back Better world with respect to BRI, China's of course not happy with it. This is very evident from what I have sourced from Silk Road Briefing. Now this is showing us what is Belt and Road Initiative current status. You just have to see what is the narrative that China has for Build Back Better world, and I'm just going to highlight it. Yes. So Belt and Road Initiative involves 147 countries, this particular website says. China funded infrastructure projects are there, and they're being undertaken globally except for the European Union and United States. They have their own development schemes known as Build Back Better World and Globally Connected Europe, although they seem to be targeted at their own infrastructure needs and not being investing internationally. The narrative is China as a country is very benevolent. It wants to take into consideration the interest of economically weaker section of the countries that there are, and Build Back Better World, they are targeting their own interest. Whereas it is actually that China's BRI has made such economically unsustainable conditions not only in Pakistan but Sri Lanka as well. Moving on, we will discuss that as well. So to counter the Belt and Road Initiative, we do not only have Build Back Better World, but India has its own project Sagarmala, where India wants to modernize the ports which are weak in structure right now, and they are vital because they are vital to both trade and economics. So that is the first thing. Secondly, rupees 70,000 crore has been given to upgrade 12 major ports and $1 trillion rupees for capacity enhancement, modernization and port-led initiative to modernize those so that proper trade can happen with not only, of course, India is not only, our interest is there, but the interest of its own neighboring countries is also there, because we have to build bridges of friendship with our maritime neighbors so that seamless transport can take place. Investing and assisting in development of maritime infrastructure in Indian Ocean region, specifically in countries such as Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Oman, Iran. Sagar, that is free and open ocean for all. Not only that, this is as of 2019, whatever I'm going to quote over here. As a part of Government of India led line of credit program in which soft loans have been given to different countries, there 279 line of credit has been extended to 63 countries of Asia, Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, Oceania and Commonwealth of Independent States. This is one of the counters of Belt and Road Initiative by India. Quad, which is a informal grouping of Japan, India, Australia and the US, is also in its full swing right now with respect to having similar minded democracies to come together so that Indo-Pacific remains open for all. Okay, moving on, let us talk about China's string of pearls policy that it has for India. See, China wants to make ports accessible for itself in these many regions. Chittagong in Bangladesh, Sitwe in Myanmar, Colombo and Hambantota in Sri Lanka, Gwadar port in Pakistan, so that it can make this region freely accessible for itself. How? It is developing ports in an unsustainable manner so that it provides loans to these countries, and if they are not able to provide the loan money back, China will put its own interest, its own navy over here in these ports to secure it, of course, and then it can, this is the Strait of Malacca, right? Strait of Malacca, if China wants to take trade from here to these many regions, it has to go from the Strait of Malacca, which is a very important choke point. Strait of Malacca is also known as the Malacca Dilemma. In order to bypass the Malacca Dilemma, it wants to secure this region through the string of pearls. For India, it is, of course, maintaining large, very large, small, medium ports in such a manner that it can have seamless ports with these many regions. Moving on, if we talk about China's Belt and Road Initiative, it is straddled with many issues. In Vietnam, in many other countries, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, it is strife with challenges. 1/3 of China's Belt and Road projects, they are facing major problems. This is according to a report of 2021. And of course, apart from that, we have the issues with China's neo-colonialism policy. That means if China is providing loans to any country, it is making the country's interest subservient to China's interest. That was done by the British for India. And hence, this is a policy of colonizing it, providing, if I am China, I have provided loans to Sri Lanka, and I have taken the land there or the port there as collateral. Now, because Sri Lanka is unable to pay my loan money back, I will take away the collateral, that is the land or the port over there, put my maritime agencies over there and colonize that area. So this is one thing. China's debt trap policy, again the same thing. If it is providing so much, it is infusing so much money into such countries, which it knows it won't be able to pay them back. But what does China do? It makes, again, it ensures that the interest of those countries becomes subservient to China's interest. That is what has happened in Sri Lanka and Pakistan. CPEC and Colombo Port City project in Sri Lanka, these are strife with challenges. Debt trap policy is something that has made these two examples very prominent with respect to its own policies. The policy of infusing money, even though it knows it's not going to get it back, doesn't matter, collateral will be taken away. Now, what is the way forward for our Build Back Better world? First of all, resource mobilization. How to mobilize a huge amount of resource in such a manner that returns could also be given for those resource investment, because the cost of the projects are $1.2 trillion for 5 years. So private sector should come into the fold. The reconciliation bill, $3.5 trillion over 10 years. This is something that it is being touted as one of the sources for mobilization of funds. Fine tuning of the current model of capitalism. Capitalism should not only be profit oriented but social welfare oriented as well. So we have to ensure that in the similar manner it works. And building consensus in democracies, and of course ensuring that we as India, which is a natural ally of the G7 countries, we ensure that we have to participate in Asia in such a manner that we emerge as the democracy, the consensus builders among democracies. Okay, so these are the many way forwards. If we move to the question, this is the question that we have. The Build Back Better initiative provides a golden opportunity to India to retake its position of Jagat Guru and strive for greater authority in global affairs. Comment. Okay, this is the question that we have for today. Practice it. Thank you so much for watching. We will meet again with another episode.